Better has a number of items as well.
Mr. Better.
Thank you, Judge.
Honestly, go fuck yourself, sir. You don't say that, okay? You don't lose a trial where a jury acquits someone and finds overwhelmingly not guilty and say, I gave my sincere obligation to look into this, and I'm telling you all I saw when she's guilty. Again, respectfully, go fuck yourself.
Swear again like that. That was, you know, no, I mean, whatever. That was, I shouldn't have done that.
A few moments later.
You, as a prosecutor, have got to be out of your fucking mind.
Nose.
Dude, Jimmy, look at those ears.
The ears don't bother me as much.
No, I don't trust a man. I don't trust a man with a lobe like that. No,
really,
not a fucking chance.
The mouth is butthole to me.
Very thin, paper thin.
The nose.
Oh, the nose.
The brows.
Well, listen, I will tell you though, I kind of like a fucked up nose on a guy.
I like a big old honker. I like a big nose.
Old nose. Give me that big bitch. You know,
yeah,
like, I'm into it.
Come over here, cluck cluck.
Yeah.
I see some chickens that went moving on up in my biz, cluck cluck. You gotta be with the kids, the kids, the kids, the kids, the kids, kids.
And I go, oop, clutch, clench, kegel. We did it all. And I go, oh, and what happened? And they go, well, we just got 4,000 plus pages, bitch. And I said, stop it. Show me it. Take me to Unimpound Town immediately, if not sooner. So what happens?
The bitch is here.
Why are you at a football game? Are you a Fonz correspondent?
Well, no, because it's only for men over 30. Okay? Have a great night, boys. Fuck off.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me.
Hey, Blues Clues, motherfucker.
Hello, loveys. Happy Wednesday, August 20th, 2025. And do you have your bowls of spaghetti? Potentially bowls of angel hair pasta? I don't know. But tonight, with me, on this day that will be known as Mr. David-Yannetti Day in my life from here on out, is the one and only attorney David-Yannetti. Get ready, loveys. He's with us. Hello, Mr. Yannetti. Oh,
I'm so sorry. I thought I had more time. You caught me mid-bite. Hang on 1 second.
that is perfect. This makes sense. This is perfect, and this is very me. I love it. While we're eating, we eat supper together. This is what we do. I had him over for supper.
I am good. I'm ready to talk now. So it is an honor to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, as a non-consensual intern for approximately 2 trials, after the verdict, I put out a little tweet, and you potentially made my life when you said, the only thing I object to is the non-consensual part. So now I will be making a button that says consensual intern nurse Kim.
I love it. I love it. You've got it down, Nurse Kim. It's awesome.
Oh gosh. Well, so here it is that tonight I have you for an hour, which is more than I deserve because you have a Zoom meeting. So you and I are going to just have a conversation because that is how I do it. We're going to see where where the spirit moves us. But I wanted to start with my BC Eagle, okay? 1989 law school man of the year, okay? For every decade. Attorney David-Yannetti. How was BC law school for you?
So I love BC Law School. You know, nobody really loves law school. It's a grind. I've never had, you know, that much dense reading to do in my life, and there's always something hanging over your head. You never can really relax. Like, I'm starting to get a little PTSD thinking about it now. But you know, having said that, I went to law school, like not knowing what type of lawyer I wanted to become. I didn't know if I was even going to be a trial lawyer at all. And Boston College has always had the best clinical programs, mock trial, moot court. They have very loyal, alumni base. And, I did those programs, and I feel like I learned from the best. And someone who, for most of my life, I did not like public speaking. I had a fear of public speaking. I just never had any experience. I was never on any debate team or anything like that, like that in high school or college. Once I got the hang of it, then I was like, this is actually really fun. This is like, an area of law that, you can be, creative, you can be kind of a ham, and, you get a lot of attention from it. And, I took to it, and, started with moot court, did well in that. And when it came to mock trial, I was like, I want to be a trial lawyer. So I credit, BC Law with really directing me to where what career I should have. I had no idea if I had an aptitude for it or not. I think that, whatever success I've had is due in large part to the start I got at a terrific law school.
That's awesome. And was there any kind of issues in your family with you going to BC? Because I believe your father got his master's in music composition from BU.
I am very impressed that you knew that. I want to know how you knew that. That's pretty incredible. Actually, you know what? You keep your sources. I won't pry. No, there was no. My dad didn't have any real allegiance to BU. He went to UNH undergrad, and he was in a fraternity there, and I think he had more allegiance to his to his undergraduate. And by the time he was at BU, it was it was just the business of trying to get a degree. So no, he very much was happy that I was going to BC Law.
That's awesome. And just asking out of curiosity is that I believe your father also was a wonderful pianist. And do you play the piano at all?
So I did. My dad, even though he didn't have a career in music, and he really wanted to be a music professor. That's why he went to BU, and things just didn't work out for him. His father needed him in the family business, and basically gave up his career to help his dad, and took it over and became a businessman instead. There's always a little sadness when I think of that. Like the opportunity he gave me to do whatever I wanted to do. Even though he would have liked me, I think, to go into the family business, supported me 100% in becoming a trial lawyer and doing something completely different. And now I lost my train of thought. What was the original question? It was
no, it was about your piano. If you played the piano.
Yes. Okay. So anyway, yeah, my dad, I took piano lessons from when I was 5 or 6 years old. My mom would take me in every Saturday to the New England Conservatory, real top, school. I got terrific, instruction there, but my heart wasn't in it. I didn't want to be, at a piano lesson on a Saturday. I wanted to be on the ball field with my friends. And, I wasn't particularly disciplined in terms of practicing. And, I think I broke my dad's heart when I stopped when I was, 11 or 12 years old, and just said I didn't want to do it anymore. But I've always thought that maybe, after, after I retire or slow down, that maybe I'd pick that up again. I mean,
that'd be awesome.
I have fond memories of actually being able to play a song I just didn't want to do the work to learn the song, I think was the
Yeah.
problem when I was younger. And I'd probably have more, I think I'd have more patience now.
Absolutely. And I just, as a girl from Waltham, I was born in Waltham Deaconess Hospital and moved to the North Shore, but you are a North Shore man. And there is such profound differences for locals, for all of us in our community. And it is interesting to see, in my opinion, we have, people that join the Free Karen Reed movement all over the world. But on a microcosm, North Shore, South Shore are two different worlds, Mr. Yannetti. And I just feel a kinship to you in our North Shore pride. And
well,
I would go to the Cape. We would go down to the Cape is different, right? If your grandparents had a Cape house or something, it was different. But the South Shore was a beast all of its own. And would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the South Shore. I mean, the growing up, we never went there. And to be fair, I don't think people from the South Shore were going to Gloucester or the North Shore either. It's like the two just didn't mix. During the trial, trial 2. You remember that Bob Alessi kept saying Canton, New York?
Yes.
He said that like 3 or 4 times, and every time,
I loved it.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, he's a riot anyway. But I would yell Massachusetts. I wouldn't have known. I don't even know if I knew where Canton was prior to this trial. And I've only been in Canton connected to this trial to either talk to witnesses or see locations. I never went there before this case. I don't expect you will ever see me in Canton after this case either. So it's I'm still in the North Shore. I grew up in Melrose, graduated from high school in Melrose. As a young man, I lived in Boston for a long time, but here I'm back.
Awesome. And speaking of Melrose, while we're on it, does your mother still have a store or an antique shop called the Lamplighter?
Oh, you are good. I can't believe this. This is awesome. So my mom, once, she was very much a helicopter mom. I'm so fortunate. We're all fortunate to have our mothers, but mine in particular, in terms of how I view things, she was selfless and always wanted to make sure she was home when my sister and I got home. And once it past the point where she needed to be there, she wanted something to do. She wanted to be productive, and she and my dad, had a hobby of going antiquing on the weekends. They'd, take trips to Vermont or New Hampshire or Maine and, buy antique lamps and furniture. And then they decided to get into the business of it. And, they'd have auctions every, couple of months. I'd work the auctions and hold up the furniture so people could bid on it. It was it was pretty fun. But my mom opened up the Lamplighter on Main Street, right near the Melrose House of Pizza, and
come on down.
She and her partner they loved it, So yeah, that's so funny that you've done your research.
Well, again, that's what us interns do. Okay, we are here for the research.
You're proving yourself all the time.
So, after BC law, you go to Middlesex County, my county, okay? And Middlesex County, in my opinion, is the best, okay? If there is a hierarchy, Middlesex County is it. And you were an ADA for about a decade, is that correct?
Yes.
Wonderful. You had, I remember specifically a case from my childhood, the Jeffrey Curley case that was, my Nana Phyllis. Okay. We'd be watching it on the news. It was just heartbreaking. And you sought justice for the Curley family and you were successful in that. Is there anything that you take from your time as a Middlesex DA that was profound that you still bring into your practice today?
Oh, a lot of things. I mean, you say Middlesex County is the best in terms of a district attorney's office. I may be biased, but I've always considered Middlesex to be the gold standard. You know, I served under 3 district attorneys during my 10 years in the office, and you know, even after I left, I worked with the next 2 that became district attorneys. So that's 5 in a row. Actually, you know, since I graduated law school, everybody that's been a Middlesex DA, I either worked for or with, including Marion Ryan, who's the, you know,
Yes.
current Middlesex DA. And you know, I have nothing but good things to say about that office. You know, the training that they, you know, give to their you know, rookie assistant DAs is phenomenal. The work ethic that is, you know, prevalent in that office is admirable. You know, the team atmosphere and people pulling for each other. You know, it was a terrific 10 years. And you know, I was I was fortunate because in most DA's offices, including Middlesex before I got there, you know, you have to really you know, gain a lot of experience before they'll trust you with bigger cases. And I just happened to come in at a point in time when Scott Harshbarger, who I thank for giving me this opportunity, he's a great man. Scott Harshbarger hired me, and then shortly after that, he left to become Attorney General. And he took a large part of his staff from Middlesex to go to the Attorney General's office. So, you know, Tom Riley, his first assistant, who won the election and became district attorney, he had a lot of positions to fill. And, you know, when I had sort of, you know, cut my teeth in district court after maybe a little bit more than a year, there were openings, and I was able to start, you know, trying superior court cases at a very young age. And then, you know, by 1992, I was being sent out on murder cases. I had been in the office for 3 years. I wasn't even 30 yet. And, you know, I got a number under my belt so that when, you know, the Jeffrey Curley murder happened, you know, I was one of the ones considered for it. I was very lucky to be assigned it. It was a, you know, I say it's a once in a lifetime case, but after doing the Karen Reed case twice in a lifetime. I mean, he was abducted in October 1st of 1997. The case was tried in 1998, about a year later. And it was, you know, Court TV existed then, but it was new. The only, you know, the very first trial I think they broadcast was the O.J. Simpson case, right? So, and the whole world watched that. So, you know, the Jeffrey Curley murder case was broadcast gavel to gavel on Court TV. And, you know, I'm a 35-year-old, you know, guy who I didn't have any, you know, experience really being on a national stage. And, you know, it was a terrific opportunity. And, you know, that case brought back the death penalty debate in Massachusetts. You know, in liberal Massachusetts, I don't know how many people who were around at the time, you know, remember this, but they're all old like me. The death penalty debate resurfaced, and it lost by 1 vote in Massachusetts. We came within 1 vote of having the death penalty in Massachusetts, which that speaks to how outraged people were, you know, about that case. And, you know, it's funny because as a, you know, 35-year-old guy trying my first really high profile case, I had other cases that attracted media attention, but not nationwide. My thought at the time was, I've made it. Everybody's going to know me from now on. This is like, you know, it was great to get the verdict that we did and to bring justice to the family. And I have a lot of, you know, fond feelings for, you know, Bob Curley and his family. And, you know, we've somewhat stayed in touch over the years. You know, the horrible loss that I can't even imagine. I didn't have kids back then. Had I had kids, it would have even been a tougher case for
Right.
me. But you know, this notion that you know, fame is lasting is not true. And because over time people forget. I mean, everybody knew the case for the next 10, 15 years, but then, you know, people get older and people hadn't been around at the time. They don't know it. They're like, what was that case about? And at the time I would think, how could you not know? It was like all over the front page of the Herald and the Globe and
Yes.
Court TV, etc. But I'm glad I had that experience for a lot of reasons. But one is that it gives you perspective to know that fame is temporary. You know, it's like right now I'm getting recognized, and I've been lucky because with the Jeffrey Curley case, I was on the right side of that case, right? And the Cameron Reed case, I'm on the right side of that case as well.
Yes.
It's rare for a defense attorney to be on the right side of a case, right? But this was that unicorn. And so, you know, I'm not getting a big head by any of this. I'm enjoying the attention. I love our supporters. I mean, you know, Bob Alessi and I have chosen not to go on, you know, any major news stations really, and just stick to, you know, this kind of thank you tour for, you know, the podcasts of people who were such staunch supporters of ours. And, you know, that's the reason I'm here today, you know, to thank you for all your support. But yeah, so anyway, it's all, it's going to fade, and that's perfectly fine. I'm happy to get back to my anonymous existence and just ride off into the sunset.
It's funny that you say that, and I believe that you are a humble king. But I would like to say to you, Mr. Yannetti, that I don't believe that there will ever be a day that your name isn't known and that you are not recognized and that you are not appreciated, because it is not what you do in life. It is not what you say in life, but like you made people feel something. Like you guys really did do something that we need, that was necessary, and you fought so hard and for so long. Like it's just truly something special, and I think that you're very special. And my emotional support attorney is Mr. Bettero, but like you're my bowl of spaghetti. So like it is so cool to talk to you and to have this moment, because you are impactful and what you did is historic. Like you standing up and standing against that. I have allergies. I'm not crying. There was standing up against the Norfolk DA's office. It was like the emperor that had no clothes, but you guys just fought and fought and would not back down. As AJ said, you had no quit, and we have no quit on you. And as the OG, as the person who answered Karen's phone call on January 29th, 2022, like you were there from beginning to the very end. And that is why you hold such a place in my heart. You know, like that's where I think that there is no one else who is a protector and who fiercely advocated for Karen and for the Constitution and for what was right and justice than you. So that's
well, you're very kind and very eloquent as well. And you know, I do have a big sense of satisfaction, you know, being there the whole time. You know, I got to know the Reed family. I think everybody knows my fondness for Karen. But you know, what a wonderful family that she has. I mean, the respect I have for Bill Reed and Janet, and you know, her brother Nathan is a special guy. He's a terrific guy. So you know, and by the way, I have to mention Kelly as well, who was I mean, people don't know this, but maybe they do, but I'm going to say it anyway. I've had an office in Dedham for years, but I was between offices. My lease ran out in my old office, and my old landlord was not a very fair man, and didn't part on good terms with him.
Oh,
And so, but I was out of an office in Dedham, and I really wanted one.
yeah.
And so I finally, I secured really nice office space that I was happy with. But I just couldn't get down there to set it up. So, I have two colleagues who rent space for me. Their offices were set up, and maybe they did a little bit in the main area, but there's a ton of paintings and prints and everything else that's on the wall, and the furniture was kind of haphazard. Enter Kelly Reed, because we were planning to use that office as our lunch location, our waiting for the verdict location, because in the first trial, we were at the church next door. We were in the middle of everybody. The church was not air conditioned. We were sweating. It wasn't the best situation. We couldn't get away. So my office was perfect, but the problem was it wasn't set up to host. And it's unbelievable what Kelly did. Put everything up on the walls. She actually printed out some photos of mine from Facebook and made put them in frames on my desk. And you'd think that it was my wife that did it. But anyway, props to Kelly and the whole Reed family. I hope I'm out of the case. I don't represent Karen anymore.
Yes.
But again, I have warm feelings for everybody. I wish them the absolute best. I hope and expect that Karen's gonna win the civil case against her, because they still can't prove there was a collision. Never mind beyond a reasonable doubt. They don't even have probable cause that there was a collision in my view. Hopefully, having lost her career as a result of this, I hope she's able to, get that money back, and I expect that she will.
Absolutely. I remember when Kelly got that mini fridge, Mr. Yannetti.
Oh, I think it's still there. I haven't been back. I think she left that there, which is awesome. We have the benefits from the trial.
Yes, absolutely. So I would love to bop into a little bit of order of operations, because I like PEMDAS. Okay. We like to do this in chronological order. So bring me back to, it is February 2nd, 2022. It is Stoughton District Court, 9 a.m. All right. You are representing Karen Reed in a motor vehicle or vehicular homicide that she is being indicted on, right? And Karen is in the box. She has a mask on and she is just puffed out. You can see she's been crying. This is what I'm thinking as I'm watching it. And Adam Lally reads the indictment, which to me sounds like a terrible accident. What a sad case. A lot of hearsay in that indictment, but he's rattling it off. At the end of this appearance, you ask the judge for a preservation order in writing, because at that moment on February 2nd of 2022, you, Mr. Yannetti, already, in my opinion, knew that there was fuckery afoot in this case, because implicitly there is a preservation order that always the police need to follow. Like, you have to. This isn't something that is just, you may do it, you shall do it. You have to preserve all evidence, but you asked for it. So what was going through your mind when you're asking that, and what was your feeling that morning?
So, there were signs along the way that were harbingers of what we were up against. In my view, hearing that a police officer was found deceased by the side of the road and his girlfriend's going to be charged with motor vehicle homicide, that's typically a case where, if you make contact with the police and the DA's office and say, look, I represent this woman. She is ready to surrender herself wherever you direct her to go. I will go with her, whether that's a police barracks, a police station, or court. Just here's my cell number. Call me anytime. And most times they will cooperate with that, and, realize, before this case, I had been a defense attorney for, over 20 years. But it was still known that, I had a prosecutorial background. I have a lot of contacts, friends, colleagues in law enforcement still. And, I think that, reputation, bought me something in terms of people knew that I was a man of my word. And if I tell you that I will produce my client, I will. And I always have. So, when they decided, in my view, to go behind my back, lock her up, have her do a perp walk in front of the media, my first thought is, that's not how I would have handled this case if I were a DA, with a former DA telling me, look, I'm representing her and I'll bring her in, right? Especially she had no record. She was a professor in school. She was a financial analyst. What are you doing? So I got my backup from the beginning. And, I hadn't met Karen in person until I'm seeing her in lockup at Stoughton District Court. You say she looks like she had been crying. I don't have that memory of her. I talked to her through the bars in lockup. I just more felt like she was in shock. I mean, she was, think of what had happened to her over the last, 48, 72 hours. She to me, she just seemed like she was trying to make sense of everything. And she was very level-headed as I was talking to her. I'm not going to get into the conversation that we had. That's privileged and private. But I will say that, my early impression was that, she had the fortitude to stand up to this case. And my early impression was, as everybody now knows, 100% correct. So, yes, I came in with the motion to preserve. And, it's funny that you say that, I shouldn't have to bring that because they have an obligation to preserve evidence anyway. Because remember what happened when, we cited a motion to preserve when they had not preserved videotape and other evidence, right? Their argument was, okay, you filed a motion to preserve, but you didn't say what we should preserve. And you didn't mention videotape specifically. So therefore we were under no obligation to preserve it. And the fact of the matter is, I'm asking for preservation of all evidence. I don't know what the evidence is. And by the way, while the case was pending in Stoughton District Court, it took a long time to figure out what their evidence was. I couldn't understand how they hid discovery from me like that. And it was difficult. I mean, I was battling judges as well, the whole case, I'm in Stoughton District Court and the district court judge there wouldn't have discovery orders because it was pending before the grand jury. I didn't agree with that. It was a struggle. So yeah, I mean, there were signs right from the get-go that this case may be different. And it started with the arrest, as I say, behind my back, and it continued with how the heck is this a manslaughter case? I read the police report. Bear in mind, I don't have any time to confer with my client. It's not like, my client's confessing to me or anything. I'm looking at the police report. And I'm saying, I don't see any criminal intent here to justify manslaughter. This sounds like an accident to me. That's based on the police report, right? And despite that, the police report lays it out that at most, if they could prove that she did this, it was an accident. That's, in my view, at most what they had. And at that point in time, we didn't have ARCA. We didn't have. I didn't know that ultimately they didn't even come close to being able to prove anything. Right. They got a conviction for OUI, but whatever. So I see the manslaughter charge, and I'm like, all right, they're really going after her. It turned out to be an understatement, right? I mean,
absolutely
what they did to this woman.
yeah, unforgivable for what the family, what Karen has gone through, what the Reeds have gone through, and the O'Keefe family, what they have been put through times two.
Yep.
Horrendous, in my
Not good
opinion.
for anybody.
Yeah.
Right. Agreed.
And then prior to trial one, there was a pretrial hearing, and you argued, or I believe actually Liza Little argued about the blood alcohol content. Nurse Kim's channel, we talk all about, I was, BAC and injuries to Officer John O'Keefe. That is where my interest and questions came from in this entire case. So, because it just never made sense that a motor vehicle incident occurred in any way, shape, or form. Now, Adam Lally came up and said that it would have been potential for the BAC could have been asked to be suppressed, Mr. Yannetti, but because it wasn't applicable for the motions in limine. Now, I never understood how the BAC even got in. It didn't make sense because, in my opinion, there was no consent. Karen was on a section 12 as a registered nurse. I'm like, what are we doing? It was used for her medical treatment, not for, any kind of criminal action. She wasn't detained. She wasn't arrested. How are we using this finding that was so many hours after an alleged event? But I digress. Why did you not file a motion to suppress that in the beginning stages?
So that's a good question. And, what you're saying certainly makes common sense. The law is, however, that in order to file a motion to suppress, you have to allege that there was state action. So this happens all the time when there are accidents and somebody may be under the influence. The DA's office will almost always subpoena the hospital records to get the blood alcohol results. And unless you can allege that the police directed medical personnel to take her blood, that would be state action.
Yeah.
Because they would be, the hospital at that point would be agents of the police. But if you can't allege that, and if this is just part of their protocol, then that's not grounds for suppression. What was interesting, we could have used you as when you talk about being an intern. We could have used you in that capacity to talk about that. I thought you must have gotten a kick out of it when in trial 2, I was, I think, the one to cross-examine the woman from the lab about red blood cells and white blood cells and all the extrapolation that's done. And I threw around the term hematocrit, which I'm sure you're familiar with, and she wasn't. It's funny sometimes the gifts that you get during trial just by asking. I had no inkling that she would say, what's that? That's her area of expertise, not mine. I probably didn't know what hematocrit was 3 weeks before that.
Right.
But I knew when I was questioning her.
Yeah, that is the gift that keeps on giving. Also, I will say, a shameless plug, I am a legal nurse consultant, as in case you ever are feeling froggy, Mr. Yannetti, I will come down to Dedham or wherever you need me.
Do you testify in trials as well?
Listen, I just got it, but yeah, I've been a nurse for, I only got it last summer. So I've only assisted in 2 cases, but those were, I'm not like, who am I? I'm a mom. I'm a nurse. I'm a nobody.
You're actually selling your skills here, and you may hear from me.
Oh, goodness gracious. I want to turn off my camera. Ooh, sorry, got to do it one time. There's me at the carousel pool. Okay. Ooh. So then we get into trial 1, and I am fully invested. I am saying to myself, there is something radically wrong here. I'm Team Karen, and you get up and deliver the most profound opening statement I have ever heard in my life, to come out the gate with your stance, your face, Karen Reed was framed, is seared into my spirit. It was a masterclass in emoting, in oration, and I felt so like elated. It was like literally the Red Sox in '04. I was like, this is happening. We're freeing Karen Reed right now. And how did you feel in that moment? Did you know that your delivery was everything? Do you know that I know we know the outcome, but that specific moment, did you feel as though it was an incredible start to that trial?
So, as a lawyer, I felt like it was an incredible opportunity that very few people get. The eyes of the world are upon you, and I did plan not to start speaking as I'm walking to the podium. I wanted to stand there and look every juror in the eye before I said that. And it was our strategy to come out of the box swinging. And there's no more powerful way to come out swinging than that. So but it fit in with our strategy for the first trial, which
Yes.
was she didn't do it, and one of these people or more of these people did. And in the second trial, we're still saying she's framed, right? Because there are those pieces of taillight scattered about the lawn, and they got there somehow.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
there was a window for framing. But you hear that?
Yeah, I do.
My bell?
Is it okay? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's okay.
perfectly fine. Yeah, no, my wife has a guitar lesson tonight, so the instructor just
Oh.
showed up. But anyway, sorry.
No worries.
So in the second trial, we were still saying the same thing, but we shifted our focus away from going down the path of having to show the jury anything, and sitting back and concentrating on reasonable doubt. So that made the difference, I think, between trial 1 and trial 2.
Absolutely. I just wanted to tell you though, for somebody who does watch court TV, for somebody who really is a true crime and trial watcher, that really was top tier in my whole entire life. I think I was literally 8 or however years old when OJ was on. That trial was the first, like you said, on court TV, and I have just liked it my whole life. So you are in the book as the GOAT to me. And
Well, you're too kind. Thank you.
no,
Thank you so
no, it's
much.
true.
No,
I
I
wouldn't tell you if it
very much
wasn't. I
appreciate it.
promise. So then in
Thank you.
trial 1, we keep going, and you were utilized so much in trial 1 because we were blessed with attorney Alessi in trial 2, and his mind of all things, a teacher, the sensei, if you will. Mr. Betterow is my sensei, and he is my emotional support attorney. But he has taught us so much. But Mr. Alessi also has that ability to elevate and knows everything about everything. But
That's a really good way to
yeah,
describe Bob Alessi. He knows everything about everything, and
everything.
if there's something he doesn't know, he's going to learn it, and he's going to teach you.
Oh,
I've said this before, but I've been practicing for 35 years. I've never seen a trial lawyer as good as Bob Alessi, and he's an even better guy, but he is a phenomenal trial lawyer. And I'm glad that he had this stage so that outside his sphere of these high stakes, expert driven trials that he does for major companies, outside of that, now the world knows what we know.
Would you say that Attorney Alessi is your emotional support attorney?
Maybe we serve that function for each other. You know, we've become very close. You know, I have a lot of respect and love for him. I think everybody knows that.
I agree, and I love that. A little bromance is wonderful. So in Back to Trial one of my favorite attorney, because I know that, I'm sorry, we don't have a lot of time left together. I just wanted to go through, maybe potentially talk me through your cross-examination of the best of all the witnesses that you cross-examined, Julie Albert. The gift that kept giving, in my opinion. Any highlights for you, Mr. Yannetti?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you know, Julie Albert was, you know, not part of anything. You know, this is Chris Albert's wife. She shows up the next day, supposedly with donuts. Oh. She wasn't at the party the night before. She's, you know, she's not part of anything. Right. So, you know, she was not a witness that I was going to beat up by any means. If she needs, you know, reading glasses, I'm going to give her mine. You know, you know, nice I wanted to, you know, treat her fairly, but you know, obviously the most hilarious moment was when she was trying to say Trooper Buchanan's name, and you know, probably your audience knows all about this, but for people that don't, Aidan Kearney, in his Turtle Boy way, nicknamed Trooper Sergeant Buchanan Bukkake, which apparently is a pretty obscene act that is prevalent in some porn movies. Oh, and you know, funny nickname. You know, that's Aidan, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm cross-examining Julie Albert, and I forget the precise question. It might have been like, which officer was that was there? Yeah. You know, and she goes, Trooper Bukkake. And you know, so what people don't know is that, you know, I mean, I'm left with that. I'm sitting feet from the jury, and inside I'm like, I don't believe that just came out of your mouth. What do I do? And you know, if it were my own witness, I think I would have been right on the beat asking the next question, trying to camouflage it. But I couldn't help. I haven't watched the tape again. To me, it seems like I waited like 10 seconds. It probably wasn't that long. But I let that sink in. I did, yeah. Without you know, cracking a smile, or, you know, I tried to remain professional, you know. And so then and by the way, you know, everybody there, even in a case as serious as this, there are light moments, right? It goes on for a long time, and sometimes it's not that you forget you're in a murder trial, but you appreciate the moments of levity. And you know, Liza, Alan, Karen appear to be like huddled at counsel table, like not wanting to show how funny it was, and you know, probably looking away from the jury and covering their eyes. And I get back to counsel table, and I'm about to sit down, and you know, I sat next to Karen in both trials. Yeah. And you know, during the first trial, I probably injected a little too much levity into the case. And you know, I tried to tone that down in the second trial. You know, I didn't want to have. I wanted Karen not to smile or laugh. Right. You know, so but in the first trial, I was a little looser. I came back to counsel table and I whispered to her and I said, "Can you believe she just effing said that?" And then, you know, and Karen looked at me like, "Oh my God." Like they had forgotten that I was the one that was up at the podium having to deal with that. It was tough enough for them. And I think they gave me props and a little, you know, respect that I just didn't become a puddle when I was asking the question. So I don't think I'll ever see that again.
Oh, no, I don't think you will, Mr. Yannetti.
Yeah, right.
Let us hope, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just remember, and she said it twice, and for the love of I prayed to who? Tiny Mary and Tiny Jesus in the boom. I said, please. I said, oh, it's happening. And your professionalism, though, there it is. Do you know what I mean? What a consummate professional. It was, it was everything. So then, basically for trial number 2, like you said, and we know you would have loved to have the opportunity to cross-examine Brian Albert. I know you spent 100 hours. I watch all your things because I'm your girl. And I know that you were prepared and willing to do anything and everything that you could in that cross. But at the end of the day, what I find so endearing and professional and incredible about your team is that you didn't make it about you. You put your egos to the back burner, and it was always about the greater good and the good of Karen and what was right. And I thank you for sitting next to her for 2 trials and being that shield and being that strength when she needed it, and to continue to advocate so fiercely as you all did. It was really something to watch.
Yeah, it was in the end, it was a great experience. It was stressful a lot of the way, and Karen handled herself in such a way that I'm just in awe of how she was able to remain as strong as she was. I couldn't have done it. I can do it as a lawyer. I couldn't have done it as a client. And I was very fortunate. I had 3 attorneys that worked with me, all of whom I liked and respected very much. I think they're at the top of the profession. We all, got along remarkably well in light of the stress that we were all under. So I felt from the beginning, I consider myself to be, a spiritual guy, and I just felt that there was an unseen hand guiding us in this case. I just felt that, I felt that we were, almost bulletproof. Like things happened along the way that I can't explain. It had some things not happen. This case could have gone the other way, and what an injustice and a tragedy that would be.
Yes.
But the fact that it ended up as it did is, it's very, very satisfying. And look, I know that people that are against Karen think that people on our side who are pro Karen are somehow against the O'Keefe family, or don't wish them well, and it's simply not true.
Mhm.
I look at them and I know the man that they lost. I didn't know John O'Keefe, but there's nobody that says anything bad about John O'Keefe. By all accounts, he was a great cop. He was a great man. The fact that he took his niece and his nephew as he did, God bless. What a tragedy this is, and my heart goes out to them. I participated in this. I defended my client because I believe with all my heart that she did not do this, and I'm thrilled that the jury agreed with me. But I still have empathy and sympathy for the O'Keefe family.
Absolutely. And do you look at the totality of how it all played out, Mr. Yannetti, and think to yourself, what do you feel was the biggest indicator for trial 2 of the jury kind of going with the not guilty across the board, what did you feel led to, we had a hung jury in trial 1, right? So she's been technically acquitted, Karen, by all accounts, of second-degree murder twice. But I felt the women in STEM really were what made trial 2, between our Dr. Russell, who was incredible in trial 1, knocked it out of the park in trial 2. The addition of a forensic genius in Dr. LaPosada made me speechless. Somebody who Hank Brennan had used before. Oh, as an expert, I said, shut up, I can't. Dr. Scorty Bello, not crippling and not crumbling under that kind of pressure from Mass State Police to designate Officer John O'Keefe's death as a homicide. She wouldn't do it because her investigation of his body didn't equal what they were saying the circumstances were. All of these women are what really propelled, I believe, the jury into that next level. Do you agree?
I'm so glad that you raised this. This is, it's low key, in my view, one of the most important aspects of this whole case. I am surrounded by strong women. My mother's a strong woman. My sister's a strong woman. My wife is a strong woman, and I want my daughter to be a strong woman. And this is a case where the 3, female doctors that you've talked about, in my view, are superheroes. They're all smart, ethical, honest, and stuck to their convictions. I was blown away by both Dr. Russell, who is, what a person she is, never mind a doctor, and she's a phenomenal doctor. I love her. I didn't know Dr. LaPosada as well, but my thoughts were, when I watched her testify, that may be one of the best expert witnesses I've ever seen in any trial I've ever watched. I mean, she was awesome. The way she handled cross-examination, stuck to her guns. You weren't going to get her to veer from the truth at all. And, Dr. Scorty Bello, I think, maybe deserves the most credit of anybody. She's in the medical examiner's office. She works with state troopers every day.
Nice.
And I have no doubt that, the pressure was put on her, to conform to their theory. And, I think text messages came out, didn't they, that, she was being called names because she wouldn't, and, similar names to what Karen Reed was called. And, at the center of it all, you have Karen Reed herself. It's like, if I'm looking for role models for my daughter, boy, watch trial number 2, and see what a woman can do, because you could not ask for better witnesses than them. I think you're 100% right on the money.
Wow. Well, Mr. Yannetti, it is your time, and I am beyond thankful for you being here with me. And I know that you might have something in the works with our guy, Mr. Bobalesi, coming down the pike with a YouTube channel and a podcast of your own, correct?
We shall see. Yeah, I think we're talking about September now. Bob and I have kind of slid from the Karen Reed case into all these other clients and judges that are looking for us. So we've been a little tied up, but it's in the works. I sure hope it happens. Any excuse to spend time with my buddy Bob, I'm going to take advantage of. So hopefully, we'll see you again that way.
Absolutely. I will be there to support. Do you have a name? Is there a name of it? Have you guys workshopped anything?
So I believe so, but I'm not prepared to reveal it yet.
Oh, okay. I'll let it go. But And then just finally, Mr. Yannetti, I wanted to thank you from all of us for going on this kind of, I believe it is a thank you and a thank you tour. And I thank you. I thank you for your time. I thank you for answering my FaceTime tonight and for answering a DM of a little scrappy nurse from the North Shore who has just been very impressed and had faith and continue to have my prayers for all of you guys that you can relax now a little bit. I know you're very busy, but that you are able to spend time with family and to kind of re-regulate your systems, because I know it was a very difficult road.
Thank you very much. And thanks so much for having me on. I had a great time.
Okay. Bye, Mr. Yannetti.
All right. Bye-bye. Take
My
care.
bowl of spaghetti. Woo! Oh, loveys. I can't put me away. Was it all right? I panicked. Was I weird? Okay. Well, listen. I love him. All right, I'm going to say it. I think he is everything. He's so kind. He is so, I don't know. He's just all the things. I feel all the things. And I wish him like continued success. I wish him a life of relaxation now and anything he wants it to be. He is literally I don't know, he's like Big Papi to me, or Matt Damon. Not Matt Damon, Johnny Damon. I was going Red Sox. All right, anyway. Listen, I gotta go. I don't know who I am, but I wore a blazer. I wore a blazer. So is she Nurse Kim or is she Kimmy Walters? All right, babes. I love your faces. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
All right, great job on the news.
Thank you.
We will, Courtney and I will share what happened when we went to dinner last night, Sunday dinner coming up. And as